Do you wave your terrible towel when Renegade plays? Reach for a tasty cake when JJ shouts, "He scores!" Does the sound of an F1 engine make your heart race? Doing push-ups with the Nittany Lion after a TD? Then lend us an ear, and we will share the exhilaration of Steelers football, the excitement of Flyers hockey, the nail-biting finishes of F1, and the pride when we yell, "We are Penn State." Welcome to the SteelFlyers show, the strangest combination of sports fandom since pineapple was put on pizza. Welcome to the SteelFlyers show. We got, you know it, you see him, he's there, the man, Pearls of Wisdom. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Getting all excited for the draft and all that.
Exactly. And that, my friends, is why we got the Pearls of Wisdom to do a bit of Flyers draft talk here for y'all. And we want to bring you on here, Pearlo, and bring some of your prognostications to some of the draft prospects and some of the ideas we got here going on with the Flyers for the draft coming up here on Tuesday. So, first of all, tell everybody how we can get a hold of you and how we can follow you.
You can find me on my NHL Pearls of Wisdom on the YouTube there. And then, of course, we got the SteelFlyers website, which is going to be the finest in the land.
Check that out.
And it already is pretty cool now. You go over there and check it out. You can see the cool podcasts that Steel and his wife do. I enjoy them. Fantastic stuff. And you can find me on Pearlo's NHL POW on the Twitter. And then I even got a Facebook channel called Pearls of Wisdom too. You can go live check that out. Lots of people are heading over there. We're having fun with that too.
Yep, for sure. You definitely want to get checking it out. I want to get going over there and making sure you get all caught up on all the Pearls of Wisdom. That's for sure. So, okay. We were talking a lot about this before we even started, before we even got on.
Sir.
And look,
sir.
Flyers are picking 23rd in the draft. Okay? And quite frankly, I don't think we're going to do anything. I think we're going to stay with the 23rd pick. The only thing I could think we could potentially do is move up. That's the only thing I think we could potentially do. So, that's where I stand. Where do you stand on that one, Pearlo? Because I know you're itching to start gabbing about what's going on.
Well, we're going to do it we'll do it now from basically if they keep the pick. First of all, like if you said that they may try to move up, that would completely depend on how far they'd like to move up. If we want to move up to like the top 15 or something like that, we better be prepared to be.
Yeah, that's going to be pricey.
Over. Yeah, somebody like York is probably going to have to go for sure.
Brink or somebody, or
York, Brink in our 23rd or something like that. Which, I mean, I wouldn't totally be opposed in doing, depending on who it is that we're looking at up there. It's just those guys up there in the top 15, that might not even be enough. Like, this draft is so deep, it's going to be very difficult to get one of those. Even to go up another 10 spots, like we're at 23 to 13, like Carolina's pick there. You're going to have to, we would have to really be offering up some stuff for that. Not saying it's not a bad idea. There's certain guys down there in that spot that I've heard may fall that would make me go, oh, maybe Seth Jarvis.
I'll tell you what.
That could be.
He was going to be one of the guys I was going to bring up for you because the Flyers do have the 23rd pick, and he might be one of those players that falls to us.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? No. So you're saying we would have to move up in order to be able to select him.
Absolutely.
Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. He is projected 18th, like between 15 or 16, 17, 18, something like that.
I've heard him all over. I've heard people take him in the 10th spot.
Yeah. So
it's his size. You get those guys with the size issues, and he's a little on the small side, right?
I think he's 5'10".
But he's just sick
Yeah, I
talent.
think he's like 5'10", something
Freaking,
like that.
he's putting up 2 points a game in junior. That translates almost always, even small
To
guys,
1 point a
to
game.
at least the 70 to 80
Okay.
point player in the
All right.
NHL eventually. So,
Uh,
so yeah, that'd be
okay,
pretty sweet.
look, and the reason why I wanted to get into some of these things is because, look, I understand that the Flyers are trying to get goal scorers and they're trying to get creative and they're trying to get guys that they can potentially do those kinds of things and take over for certain players when they go, like like Voracek, like some of the other players that might
Yeah,
potentially go. So they're picking guys
yeah,
that are going to potentially be those people that are going to be replacing other players, so to speak.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
I'm just, I'm really, I have a hard time with picking these guys that are under 6 feet. I mean, I get
Uh,
skill and I get it. But, look, I just don't want to have a team full of Danny Briers. Not that that would be that terribly bad per se, because Danny Briere was a
mhm.
great offensive talent. He was, a playoff clutch player, but he's diminutive. And when you go up against guys like the Islanders, and you go up against guys like Washington, and you go up against guys like Boston, and you go up against guys like the Rangers and Montreal, and guys that are in the Metropolitan, you need a bigger bodied person, I think, in order to stay competitive. And constantly getting these smaller, diminutive guys, I think, is really starting to hurt us, because look at what's going on right now on our team right now. And what are we missing? What do we need?
I mean, you need what everybody wants: somebody that with size that can score.
You said it right there. You
Unfortunately,
said it. The first
at the
two
number
words you said,
23,
with size.
yeah, but in the 23 pick, where Philly's probably going to be picking most of the time for the next little while, with Anson Carter in there, that's a very difficult thing to accomplish. There's not too many guys that play, like I just mentioned. We were just talking about the 2003 draft. Just so happens somebody plucked Getzloff at 19,
I
but
mean,
those are few and far
exactly.
between. If you're going to do that, I'm telling you, if we're going to do that, we're going to have to take risks. And I would be picking in that spot. If we want a guy with size, and I'd be picking in that spot, and he's probably going to fall to us, I'd be picking Hendrix Lapierre. I'd be just make sure that his head's okay, give him all the time he needs to heal, all of that stuff. And people aren't going to like that because we just had what happened with Patrick, right? But he's had some concussions. If anybody doesn't know out there, he's had some concussions. He's had some neck issues and all that kind of stuff like that. He would have been a top 5 pick if he didn't have that in this draft. He's like Bergeron level good.
Okay, but I don't think that would be a good idea for the Flyers, because of exactly what you already just said, because of our experience that we've had with Nolan Patrick. It's really a shame what's going on with Nolan Patrick. I feel really bad for the kid, because I do think he has talent. I do think he has skill. And I also think he's a game changer. Now, he did practice the other day. He did have a scrimmage. There was no contact, but he did scrimmage in that game. So if he comes back healthy and everybody says that everything's cool and he's able to play and he's not that one dirty hit away from being done, then more power to him. Good on you. Welcome back to the team. Let's hit the ground running. That answers a lot of our questions. We resign him for a crazy, stupid, sub $1 million deal for 1 year, or we laden it with incentives so that he has to, prove himself, and off we go. We're going to be putting 23 is going to be on the ice, I believe, fully healthy next year, or next season. You know what I'm saying? And quite frankly, if Patrick is playing, then he's going to be on the ice, or if he's scrimmaging now and is able to be on the ice, and he'll be on the ice. Okay, and we might have to just ride with the team that we got.
Yeah, I mean, if Patrick's there, I mean, that changes everything.
It does.
Right? That's
It
the whole
does.
thing. It changes everything.
And I think having Lindblom there too, with re-signing him, I think that really changes the
Lindblom's going to play, and then Lindblom's going to be great again. And then you have your score, so we can kind of shut up about all that. Lindblom's a 30-goal scorer in this league. So
I mean, he played 22 games and had 18 points in 22 games.
Yeah, he was fantastic, and he's going to be. We don't need to worry about it too much. Now let's get into something, if you don't mind. If in fact we believe those things are going to happen. Now, okay, let's say we have this indication that Patrick's back. Lindblom is going to be back to 100%, which I do believe he is, anyways.
Yep.
Right.
Who do we pick?
Are we? Those are two young guys that will be playing for us for quite a long time. You've got that Lindblom is your guy that takes over for Voracek, and Giroux is replaceable with Patrick, and the cap space will go up.
I'd much rather see Farabee more as a replacement for Giroux than.
Well, Farabee because he's playing the wing, Giroux's on the wing. But anyways, you've got that, right? So now we have a team, first of all, that's not just set up for now, but set up for later pretty well as well. Not too bad.
A couple years down the road.
We're not desperate for first round picks here anymore. So we got my little plan that does not go well on Twitter at all. Might I say. Our Twitter fans are not a fan of this idea at all, but I think it's the only way we do it. We staple our first to Van Riemsdyk and we get rid of him. And I do believe that we'd have to use the first. I don't think there's a general manager out there that's going to do it for less. And honestly, either that or York, and I don't like that because York is almost ready to play, and I really like it.
Look, I don't think we're going to have to put a prospect in with. I don't think we're going to have to do that if we're going to throw JVR in and a first round and our 23rd pick for this year. I just don't think.
No. If you don't think we have to put in a first to get rid of JVR?
No, I mean what I'm saying is that if we throw in our first round pick,
that's enough. Yeah.
And JVR.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That should be no doubt about it. This is a pretty deep draft. There's going to be some decent players.
Like I wouldn't even have a problem seeing a first round pick and Ghost going as well, because I think Ghost has more, in my opinion. I think Ghost has more value to a team that has more of a cap space for a defenseman than they do for a aging winger that is really only a specialist at this point. He's only really playing the power play and a little bit of you know what I mean. So that's kind of why I feel the way I do. If
you're going to staple, if we are going to staple a first to someone, I don't know why I like saying that, staple a first. Makes it sound like I'm cool. But if we're going to add a first to
Wait, I think
JVR.
I do have a stapler here. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I do. Yeah. All right, there you go. Look, there you go. Staple that sucker right on there.
Now I feel like a guy from Office Space. Don't take my red staple. I don't know why that came in my head. I don't know if you ever saw that movie before.
I have a black one. I don't have a red stapler.
I
don't have the red stapler.
Anyways, we'll ramble on here. If we're gonna give a first, might as well go with the most cap space possible.
Okay, I know.
So I would say
I agree, but unless you get a team that is very much under the cap and needs an aging winger that might be able to get him between 12 and 15 goals a year, they can play on the power play or quarterback the power play, then JVR is their guy. but not for that
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
money.
maybe Detroit might do it for a first. They already did it for Stahl for a
Okay, but
second. See, Mark Stahl from the Rangers only has 1 year left on his contract at 5 million.
JVR
So
has
after this year,
what,
he's an
3?
unrestricted free agent, and they got a second for
Yeah, well,
that.
and JVR has 3, right? 2 or 3 left on his year,
Yeah,
on his
$7
deal.
million. I keep on saying six. Maybe my mind wants to think it's six. It's $7 million for the next
Yeah,
3 years.
well,
So that's a lot to bite. That's a
that
lot
is
to
a lot to
bite.
chew on, but that's why I don't think it's going to be him. I think it's going to be more of the ghost because I just don't see a team. I mean, other than Detroit, but they've already kind of made some moves, and now we're kind of doing that ride out until we get to the draft, and that's why I just don't think that JVR is going to be the one that's going to move. Oh, although ideally that's what we would like to do, because that moves the most
Yeah.
cap space for us. But I think what in reality is going to be is we're going to probably have to do Ghost and a prospect and or a first round pick. And then
Yeah, it could very well be that we got to give up a ghost, give up a first to get rid of ghost and 4 million for the next
which
three
I
years,
would be okay
which hurts.
with. Okay, that's still
Maybe if Patrick and Lindblom is coming back.
well. We already know that Lindblom is coming back. Okay, he
Yeah,
played. He
but
played in the playoffs. He was re-signed for 3 years, 3 mil each year for $9 million. So we know he's coming back. I'm not even. That to me isn't even a question in my mind anymore now that Lindblom is going to be back and playing. I'm already penning his name in the top 2 lines.
mhm,
So
yeah. Okay, so we got that, but and Patrick as well. And even then, even if not Patrick, that cap space is so huge. There's so many players that we can go after that can provide us. Because I mean, if like we've said before, if we're keeping Voracek and Giroux, which it looks like we are, we can't worry that much about the future. We got to really win
well,
now. I
I
mean,
think that's exactly what
that
we're
window is
doing by
closing.
doing the moves that we're doing is worrying about the future because we're not overspending when we can't, and we're doing things a little bit more wisely, and we're doing things a little bit more team friendly, as far as financially, because
Detroit, by the way, still has 24 million left in cap
after the
space.
deal that they did to get
Yeah, and they don't have. Wait, what do they have? They have some people. Oh, they got to sign Bertuzzi. They have some people to sign, but nothing that's going to crush
not
them.
with that kind of
I think
money,
they
not
might
with
do
that
it.
kind of money over under the cap. What about Florida?
I think they might do it, dude. I just think they might do it. They want first so bad there in
Yeah,
Detroit.
what about Florida? Because see, this is where no,
No,
wait, hold on, folks,
Florida.
just hold on.
Oh, wait. You're talking about
Ghost.
for Ghost, you mean?
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
because you're talking about Detroit, I think Florida might be the landing spot for Ghost, and I think we could give Florida Ghost, and they would eat the contract, and we probably won't even have to give up anything other than just Ghost. We might.
I don't know because they've been talking about not bringing back like
No. I
Dodonov and
understand that.
Hoffman.
Look, I understand that, but I think that Ghost fits into Quinville's system. I think it fits into his
Oh,
system.
I
I really,
I
look.
don't.
This is just how I feel. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I know, and this is how I feel. I don't agree
that's
with
okay. That's the best thing about this.
you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's
You
good
know,
about. I'll tell you why, because they just have the sour taste in their mouth with that Matheson kid that
I
they got rid
know.
of in
I
Pittsburgh.
know. I know.
Now we're going to take on another possible problem with Ghost.
But you're looking at a guy who definitely needs a new change of scenery. You're looking at a guy who
First,
would be going home because he's from Florida. And like I said, I just feel that that's more of a fit. I think I and look, it might not even be Florida, but I just think that Ghost has more of the ability to be moved than anybody else on the team because JVR's contract is not nearly as friendly as Ghost's contract is, and Ghost is younger and has more upside, I think, than JVR. So to me, it's a no-brainer. It's going to be Ghost instead of JVR going anywhere.
Well, like I said, if Detroit would do that, but that's the only one that would do it. And if they won't do it, even for the first, then yeah, you're looking at doing the same thing with Ghost. I don't think you're going to be able to give it to Florida and get for nothing, like either and giving something with it and getting,
So you're saying,
unless we get something in return, they probably won't, and I don't know what they would want to give us in return. Uh, Honestly, I'm looking at their roster right now, and I don't see anything that would make sense for them.
and we don't want and their pick is way down there, right? They got like what the.
Oh no, they got a higher pick, but they're not. You're not going to be able to touch
What's
that.
their pick rank right now? What are they? 15th or?
I think they're like. No, I think they're like 12th
12th
or
or something.
something like
Okay, I
that.
was close. I said 15th. So, all right.
12th. Yeah, I think it's. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying then that if they take Ghost and our first, then they only move back what 11, 10, 11 positions.
Well, they don't move back. They'll have the 12th and they'll have the
No, 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 no,
23rd.
no, 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 no.
Because
What I'm saying is that we trade to get the 12th pick, and we give them
well, if
Ghost.
we try to trade to get the
Yeah.
12th pick, well, we won't have Ghost in that trade. They won't. They won't. They wouldn't want Ghost in
Okay,
that trade.
could we put obviously we'd have to put our first round pick in there too, but then could we put maybe a couple more picks in there?
York. They might be interested in York in that trade. York is more ready to play right now. So it would depend on what falls to them in that 12th spot. They really want defensemen, and they really want young and ready defensemen. So that's a possibility. And I don't like giving up York for nothing. But to move up into that 12th spot with some of the players that could be available there, it's
I
interesting.
mean, look, unless we're gonna do something like that, then it's we'll see it on the 23rd pick, and Fletcher and company will be up there to make the announcement, and there you go.
Well, some of the guys, we didn't really talk about some of the guys that could be there at the
So
23rd
that's
pick.
what the next thing we were
And
gonna
well,
get into.
except for Hendricks Laperriere.
Okay, but we also talked about Jarvis, that potentially could be there. You,
I don't think he'll be
yeah,
there, but you could. You said if we're not trading for, if we want to get a guy with size that can play hard or
we have to
whatever the
trade
case may be,
up.
there we're gonna have a difficult time. But Joe, our fine Joe friend, the professor, Tyson Furster,
Yeah, that's not a
and
bad. I like that from the Brer Bolts in the OHL, 18-year-old. Yeah,
yeah,
he's got some nice stats, man. He's got some nice stats. You know what I mean?
not bad.
35
He's
goals in
probably
80
not going to be a,
games, 44 assists. So that's not bad.
he's probably not going to be a huge scorer in the
Right.
NHL,
You know.
but he's going to be a second, third line tweener, which is what we have lots of. But he's bigger, so that's what I mean. That's the kind of guy you're usually going to get in there. If we're really going to swing for the fences, we wouldn't worry about a forward. We would go for. I think we would be best to go for William Vollander
Okay.
from Sweden.
Yeah.
I really think that kid has the potential to be the steal of
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
draft down there. I really love that kid. But I mean,
So you
it's
think it
not.
would be more advantageous if we can't, because I believe on the hold on, I want to make sure I give correct credit. The NHL Draft, the prospects by Stephen Frank. He's got
Okay.
the center from the the Blazers from the WHL. Connor
Holloway?
Zary.
Zari. Okay. Well, Zari. Yeah, Connor Zari is a lot like Jersey's third liner that's been there forever. He's like 35 years old now. Anyways, keep on talking and I'll look it up.
Yeah, no, but I
I
mean,
just looked at one
he looks like a good
where
call.
Amirov
Yeah.
was there. That would
Yeah, I
be
would
all
be okay
right.
with that too, yeah. I mean, look, I don't think we're
Amirov.
going to have a problem with anybody that potentially could, quote unquote, fall to us at 23. I really think that,
Travis
yeah,
Zajac.
yeah.
He's very Travis Zajac.
But,
So he's a third line center that can play in the second line. Same kind of guy.
which is kind of like a bunch of the other guys that we have already. You know what I mean?
True, but I mean, having a bunch of guys like that in the playoffs is
Right.
not bad. I mean,
Well,
you've got really good two-way. If you've
we
got
have seen
Patrick,
what you need to
Couturier, and a
do.
guy like that as your
Okay,
top.
okay, but we've seen the last two Stanley Cup winners have been banging bodies, and the last two Stanley
Sure,
Cup.
but they also have scores.
Okay, that's right, they do, but they also have the exact.
Zari will
But
bang
they also
bodies.
have
He's 6'1".
size, and they bang
Yeah,
bodies, and they score.
Zari's okay for Zari's okay for size.
Yeah,
So
that's why.
we're
Yeah,
doing all right.
that's why I wanted to look at him because he is not the 5'9", 5'10".
No. Zari's
I
six
know.
foot
That's why I
one.
said, you know.
I don't think that's a bad play if he happens to fall to
I
us.
like.
I just don't think. I think there's a lot of guys that I think because he's a
Yes,
center, I doubt he's going to fall to him.
but he could be that creative center that we've been. He could be that 3C. You know what I mean? Because that's what you know.
Uh,
That's what Fletcher said they're looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah, somewhere down the road. I mean, you got to remember, Connor Zari's not going to be ready for another 2 to 3
Which,
years. So
okay, I mean, I already think we have the 3C is already on the team. That's just
Patrick. Oh,
no,
sorry,
yeah.
not Patrick.
If
He's
he's
just
coming back, it's either gonna be him or
yeah,
Lawton. I mean, what?
yeah.
It's gonna be one of those two guys. I just don't see it being, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't really need that, and which is good as long as Patrick's there. I mean, Patrick, Hayes, and Couturier as your top three is bloody fantastic. Uh, we wouldn't have, we really don't need to worry about centers. We need some scoring wingers, and that's really what it comes down to. It's uh, and I know, yeah, like we
But
need guys like a guy like Hoffman or a
right.
guy like
And here's the other
somebody
thing
like
that
that.
we did. We need to, this is the last thing I think that we need to get on touch with too, is because of the fact that we've re-signed Moose. Okay, we've re-signed Robert Haig. We've re-signed Kubel. Okay, and the only ones that we have left to
Mhm.
sign are Myers and who's the other one?
Oh,
Yeah,
who do we have
Myers.
left to
Is it
sign?
Myers
Is
and
it
Patrick, or is it just Myers and who else?
well Myers, Patrick, and we just signed
And
Hag,
we just
so
signed Elliott
I think
too,
that's
right?
it.
Yeah, okay. So, but that's the thing. We've re-signed all these guys now, okay? So that leaves us with like $3.7 million in cap space. So that gets us to re-sign the last two players on the list, and then we're done. We're out of money. You know? And that's why I think that we're going to be doing the things that we're going to be doing based off of the fact that we are re-signing these players and that we are not going to be able to splash for that big sniper, center, 3C, whatever creative guy that we're looking for, we're going to have to draft him. And that's just going to have to be the reality of it.
It's just in the 21st spot, you're going to have to reach for the fences a bit. So if I'm doing that, then I'm looking at, personally, I'm going to look at Russians, a lot of Russians in the draft. Because, like Amirov, for instance, may fall down to us.
Earlier, yeah.
The reason why is because they are difficult when it comes contract time. Because they've got the KHL escape. They can always go to the KHL at any time. And
Like they don't need the
KHL. Not financially speaking, they don't. So and agents will play that all day.
Wouldn't you?
Right? So they'll make you play chicken. My guy's going to go to the KHL if you don't give blah blah blah. And
wouldn't you
what's
do the
that?
same? If you were in that position,
well, I'm not
saying
saying
the same.
I'm not saying wrong.
Okay,
no,
right.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong for any player to do
right,
best for
right,
themselves.
Right.
Never. Exactly. I'm not saying it is, but it not like Canadian guys and American guys generally are not going to be so privy to go to the KHL. They could go to the KHL as well. But in the KHL, you're riding buses mostly. Most of the teams don't have planes. And you're in Russia.
And it's cold.
So you grew up in the U.S. Yeah, but they grew up there. So their home is there, right? So they're more likely to play that KHL card.
Yeah.
So that is the reason why they can fall down to you. And in our bag, I would really look at some of those Russian kids. Now, there's another one. I'm trying to pull it up here. In the second round, I'm telling you, but you're not going to like it because he's small. But, I mean...
So, are you talking about
if you
Robbins for a second rounder for us?
I'll look it up.
Because that might not be...
No. Tristan Robbins is small, but he's an American. Where is the second?
Yes.
Don't they have the first rounds?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's not John Jason Petrika, is it?
Second round. I'll tell you in a second. It's not loading. This app has... They don't have the second round now. Anyways, he's a Russian kid with a long name. He's about 5'9", 5'10", and the skill is just absolutely freaking insane. Now, I'm hearing a lot of scouts now say that it's better than Jarvis. His hands are...
You're saying he's a second rounder?
Yeah, they have him in the second round, but they think somebody's going to take a flyer on him in the first because he's just improved so much over the year, like in every other way. His hands were always sick, but he's getting thick and stocky and a good center of gravity, and his intensity and everything. It's like he's like a Russian Gallagher maybe with better hands.
Okay, I mean, hey, there's.
We have somebody like that kind of in Konechny, but I see your point though. Like you can only have so many small guys on your team in the playoffs. We see it over and over again. Stats people will try to tell you otherwise, but you look at Toronto, right? The Toronto Maple Leafs. They got all these big names, and they're not all small players, but there's a lot of they're soft players. They're soft. And Columbus just beat them down, like somebody said that they would do, and they won, right? And we saw that with Philadelphia with the Islanders. And if we would have went against Dallas, do you think we would have beat Dallas?
I think we would have had a good chance against Dallas, but I think maybe they would have probably overpowered us. I think too as well.
Because of their size, right? Yeah. Tampa Bay adds Coleman, who's not big, but he plays big. Goudreau, Maroon, and then all of a sudden
And
they're a Stanley Cup
McDonough.
team. It's McDonough they had last year as well, but to their forward group is on the small side. Like they've got Johnson and
Well, yeah.
Palat, who are great skilled guys, but not really that big. Even Point's a small guy,
Okay, but they have.
right?
But look, you can't have a roster full of guys that small. And we brought in guys, and see, that's the other thing too that we didn't talk about either. The fact that we re-signed all our restricted free agents means that there are some players that have gone bye-bye. Okay, so Grant, Thompson, Pitlick, and Braun are all gone.
Yeah,
Okay, so there you go. All the dead weight's been shed. We
they're dead weight, but
I
why were
know,
they brought
I
in?
know.
Because they all play
Pitlick,
big,
I
right?
thought of all
They
of
were trying.
of all four of those players, Pitlick is the only one that I wish we could have kept. Like honestly, I
Yeah,
would
I
much
really
rather
do.
have Pitlick than, gosh,
JVR.
all day, all day long. Okay, because at least Pitlick is
Yeah,
trying. At least he's giving it that energy all day long.
yeah. I know. We had in. I also am an Oilers fan, so I don't really say we, but as my Oilers side of my fanhood goes, we had Pitlick, and I hated seeing him
I
go.
mean, he's a good player.
Really did.
He's going to catch on somewhere, and
He
typical
gives you
Flyers
everything,
fashion,
man.
he'll
He
he'll
gives you
have his name
everything.
on the cup here soon. So everybody that's good that loses
He
that
gives you
we
everything.
lose ends up with their name on the cup somewhere. I mean, come on, that's par for the course.
He gives you everything every night, and makes room for players, and he gets loose pucks in the corners and all of those sort of things like that you want to see from a guy in your third
Yeah,
three
exactly.
four spot.
So
And he's awesome in the room, energy all to hell. I really
yeah,
hated to see
yeah. I
him
mean,
go.
like I said, he was the only one that I wish we could have kept. I'd much rather have him than half of the than the than any of the guys that we
Yeah,
even picked up because he was the one that we picked up at the beginning of the year last year. He wasn't a trade deadline guy. He was a guy that we got at the beginning of the year and went through training camp and all that other stuff. So that's a real shame to see him go because I thought he's that upgrade of Raffle to me. You know, he's that quiet guy. He's not on the score sheet, but he does all those other things like Raffle does. You know,
yeah. I mean, yeah. Raffle can put up a few
right?
more
But
points,
and
but
and so could Pitlick, I'm sure. But he plays. They kind of have that similar kind of game where, yeah, you might not see him on the score sheet
mhm,
every night, but they're out there finishing checks. They're playing those important PK minutes.
they're wearing their
Exactly,
opposition
exactly.
down. Yeah.
They're playing into the system and everything else like that. So
What I liked about Pitlick is yeah, very undervalued because he doesn't hurt you play if he ends up being up on the top, going against the other team's
yeah.
top line.
Yeah, no, he
He
doesn't.
doesn't
He's okay
hurt
in
you. Like
face-offs and stuff too. So I mean,
I would have him like if I was a general manager and I'm in Detroit or Ottawa or somebody like that, I'd be signing him up right away because that is a guy that can teach those kids
yeah,
what it means
he
to
won't be
put effort up.
unemployed long. I guarantee you, he will not be unemployed long.
He can probably go to a team that has like he's getting to that age that he may just want to keep on going to teams that
Yeah,
have cup possibilities, and there'll be somebody out there that'll give him a
like
million
I
and a half
said,
or
he
whatever to
is
play
not
for.
going to be unemployed long. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah,
and
for
speaking of,
sure.
yeah,
Love the
and speaking of not being that for long anyway, this has been great, man. We touched on a lot of awesome points. Look, we're just getting wound up, okay? Because the draft is coming on Tuesday. The Flyers have the 23rd pick, and who knows? They may stand pat. They may trade it. They may shed salary. They may do all kinds of other fun stuff. But we just touched on a little bit tonight, and we're going to get into it a bunch more. So I'll tell you what, Pearlo, thanks for being on the show, man. It's been a blast. We love talking about all this great stuff, especially with the draft coming up, and everybody's so excited about it. So, Pearlo, thanks for being on the show. How can we find you? How can we follow you? And where can we get all your great stuff?
Well, like I said, the SteelFlyers website again. Keep on checking that. We'll update you as that gets going, because it's going to be fantastic, and it's pretty darn good as it is. You can find all my stuff at SteelFlyers Friends there on the website. I'm going to be doing a mock draft right now, actually.
Stay
So
tuned
be looking out for that at
he's
my
the
NHL.
prognosticator.
And I have a big surprise on who my number one is, don't I,
yes,
there,
you
Steel?
do. So you
So
got to stay tuned
everybody
for that.
will. Not on the. Just imagine me not being on the mainstream of what people think.
But I'll tell
Imagine
you
that.
what. I
So,
like your
anyways,
idea. I like your idea. That's right.
we'll see how it goes. Okay,
Yeah, man.
that's where you can find me. And
Been a
that's
blast. Been a blast. Thanks for
that's
being on the show, brother. We love having you. Yeah, man.
Still
Anytime, yeah. You can find me on Twitter at SteelFlyers52, and come to the website. Check it out, www.steelflyers.com. Your one-stop shop for all the videos, all the podcasts, and be staying tuned for a lot of great updates and a lot of great stuff coming soon. So hang tight in there. Stay strong, stay safe, and hang tough.